You know that feeling when you're just trying to enjoy your morning coffee, the kind that's strong enough to wake you up but smooth enough to savor, and someone comes banging on your piece like they own it? That's how my Thursdays started. Jake Sullivan, standing on the porch of my family's cabin by Willow Creek, staring down Karen Whitaker, the HOA's self-appointed enforcer, waving a piece of paper like it's a court order. "Take down your gate, Jake, or you're facing the board," she barked, her neon green vest screaming authority she didn't have, while I just stood there, thermos in hand, wondering how my granddad's old wooden gate suddenly became the neighborhood's biggest scandal. This wasn't just any gate. My granddad, Tom Sullivan, built it in '62, back when this land was just pine trees and deer trails, long before the HOA dreamed up their Creekview community plan. Those weathered oak planks, those iron hinges creaking with history, they weren't just a boundary. They were a promise, a line in the dirt that said, "This is ours." But Karen, with her clipboard and glossy vendor pamphlets, didn't care about promises. She wanted my gate gone, claiming it blocked community access to the creek trail. Community access? The creek's got a public boat launch half a mile down the road, wide enough for a fire truck, but somehow my little gate was the problem. I leaned against the post, feeling the grooves my granddad carved with his pocket knife, and said, "Karen, this gate's been here longer than your HOA. You're going to need more than a fancy letter to make me tear it down." She didn't blink, just shoved a violation notice in my face official letterhead. 3 signatures. Words like architectural noncompliance thrown around like they meant something. "The Creekview Accessibility Initiative requires open pathways," she said, pointing at my gate like it was a prison wall. I flipped through her brochure's $50,000 trail upgrades, ramps that looked like they belonged in a mall, not our sleepy forest. I could smell the kickbacks from here. "So, let me get this straight," I said, handing her back her papers. "You want me to rip out my family's history so strangers can stroll through my yard to a creek they can already reach? Show me the rule that says my granddad's property answers to you." She adjusted her vest, muttered something about compliance deadlines, and peeled out in her SUV, leaving me with 14 days to fix it. That night, I couldn't sleep. The violation notice sat on my kitchen table, mocking me. But then I saw it flashlights bobbing around my gate, shadows moving in the dark. I grabbed my phone, crept out, and caught some guy snapping photos, positioning what looked like rescue gear to make it seem like my gate was blocking a fire truck. Are you kidding me? I checked the community's Facebook group the next morning, and there it was, my gate front and center, with captions screaming, "Selfish homeowner blocks emergency creek access," and "What if kids drown because of this gate?" The photos were pro-level, dramatic lighting and all, taken at midnight hours after I'd seen those flashlights. I called the county fire department, and the dispatcher laughed. "Jake, we've used the boat launch for 20 years. Your trail's never been an issue. So why the stage photos? Who was trying to turn my neighbors against me?" The post spread like wildfire. Neighbors I'd known for years, folks I'd shared beers with at summer barbecues, were commenting, "This is a safety hazard, and private property doesn't trump lives." I posted back, cool as I could, with photos of the real boat launch, wide and paved, and the fire department's number for anyone who wanted the truth. But the damage was done. People were scared, angry, buying into this fake crisis. I started digging. The photo metadata showed they were taken on my land, no permission, and the equipment was arranged for maximum drama. This wasn't just Karen. Someone was orchestrating this. Monday brought a new player, a slick guy named Greg from Lakeside Solutions, standing on my porch with a clipboard and a fake smile. "Mr. Sullivan, your gate violates historic district standards," he said, spreading out papers like he was closing a deal. Historic district? Since when? My cabin predates any fancy designations. I played along, letting him ramble about non-compliant hardware while I checked his credentials on my phone. Expired. 2 years out of date. And a quick search showed Lakeside Solutions had paid him thousands for compliance consultations. I grinned, tilted my phone to record, and said, "Greg, funny thing about historic preservation should to protect my 1960s gate, not tear it down for your company's shiny new trails." His confidence cracked, and he started packing up, muttering about consulting his team. I showed him my granddad's original permits, county stamped from '62, and watched him squirm. "You'll hear from us," he said, practically sprinting to his car. But the real gut punch came Wednesday. An email from the HOA announced a joint committee review for non-compliant properties. 3 committees: landscaping, creek management, and community events had magically aligned to target my gate, claiming it threatened aesthetic unity and emergency access. I got my hands on their meeting minutes, and it was a mess. Votes held without notice, quorum rules ignored, and board approvals with signatures that didn't match. Karen was running the show, waving forged documents like a dictator. I showed up at the next meeting, recorder on the table, and laid it out. "My property predates your HOA by 2 decades. You've got no authority here, and these fake signatures prove it." The room went quiet. Committee members looked at Karen, who just clutched her clipboard tighter. One guy, Mike, a retired teacher, admitted she told us we had full board backing. I didn't know. I started knocking on doors, talking to neighbors like Sarah and Dan, who'd lived here since the '70s. They were stunned to learn their cabins had grandfather protections, too. Karen had them convinced they'd lose their homes if they didn't comply. Another neighbor, Carlos, showed me a violation notice for his shed, same forged signatures, same vendor pushing expensive fixes. It wasn't just my gate. Karen was shaking down the whole community, using fear and fake authority. Then my phone buzzed with a call from Deputy Ryan at the sheriff's office. "Jake, we're looking into fraud allegations against your HOA. Those signatures? Forgeries. Send us everything you've got." I sent the minutes, the photos, Greg's expired license, everything. The emergency board meeting was electric. The community center was packed, neighbors whispering, tension thick as fog. I stood up, projector glowing, and laid out the scam. Forged signatures, staged photos, a fake historic district, and Lakeside Solutions fat checks to Greg. Sarah shared her violation notice, Carlos his shed drama, and Mike admitted the committee was fed lies. Deputy Ryan walked in, dropped a folder on the table, and said, "This is now a criminal investigation. Preserve all records." Karen sat in the back, silent, her face like stone. When the board president asked if she had anything to say, she just muttered, "I'm getting a lawyer," and slipped out. The board voted to boot her, void every fake violation, and cooperate with the sheriff. The room erupted, some cheered, some just exhaled, like we'd all been holding our breath for months. A week later, I stood by my gate as county officials bolted a heritage plaque onto it. Willow Creek shimmered in the morning light. Same as always, but now my granddad's gate was untouchable, legally protected as 1960s heritage. Karen? Charged with forgery, fraud, and conspiracy. She's facing community service and a long list of apologies. The HOA's under new rules now verified signatures, mandatory training, no more fake emergencies. My neighbors, once divided, started talking again, sharing stories of their own cabins, their own fights. I upgraded the gate, same oak, same hinges, but with a sign, Willow Creek Heritage Property, protected by law. It's not just a gate anymore. It's a reminder we stood up to a bully and won. Looking back, I wonder if I could have handled it differently, maybe confronted Karen sooner, or rallied neighbors faster. But we got here, and that's what counts. The creek's still there, the deer still wander through, and my granddad's gate stands tall, telling its story. So what would you have done? Faced with someone trying to steamroll your history, would you fight, negotiate, or something else? Drop it in the comments. I am reading everyone. Hit like if you're glad we stuck it to the HOA. Subscribe for more stories like this, and tap that thanks button if you're feeling it. Stay real out there, folks. This is Jake, signing off from Willow Creek.